Alright guys, welcome back to the 17th Idle Adventure video. It is time to update the tier list by adding the two new characters being Lightless and also Berserk Meliodas, and of course rearranging some of the tiers because some characters become more relevant or they may have not become relevant. Let's talk about it. So we'll start off with the first two new characters. The first one being Lightless. She is one of the most skippable characters, and if you did skip her, you've probably been kind of blessed because I feel like she's one of the characters that you can kind of use at low dupe level because she stays out of the fight. In terms of like the Silver Demon, I think she really was made for the Silver Demon, and in terms of like getting her, if you skipped her, you probably dodged a bullet because you can just buy her for free every week. Granted, there's only one copy, right? But still, you can buy her, right? And she's like the last character to be added into the actual, free-to-play ticket banner for like a whole month. Like, she really was a skip. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you got her, you're fine. She is the best healer, but she's also, a healer. And you'll find yourself not really using healers too often. The only time you actually want to use her is definitely in PvP. Boss fights, you can use her, but like, you don't need to. You rather just rely on some DPS. Granted, there will be times where you need to use her. She's definitely, obviously, made for the Silver Demon. But outside of that, and to be fair, maybe going content forward, you definitely want to have the character. But, like, definitely not a, the same reason why we put Gloxinia down from S tier, a month or two ago now. It's just a lot of times you don't need healers. Like, a lot of content as well when it comes to admin boss battle and just boss battles in general, now hit bosses, you want to, while yes, survive, you also want to deal as much damage as possible. And with teams being so like restricted, sometimes you don't have a chance to put an Elizabeth and heal. So yeah, she is S tier, still a pretty good character, just once again a support character. A lot of times you just want DPS. So now moving on towards, yes, DPS. Berserk Melly, is he the best character in the game? Yes, but I wouldn't say he's like a mile away from everyone, right? Well, yes, when you're using him, he can do a million more damage than was like your Escanor and other characters. And you might think he's the best character in the game. He has the ultimate that has a massive AoE skill, has this skill as well that does a massive AoE skill to where he's basically rubbing all the damage, right? He's taking up all the damage to where your other characters can't really compete a little bit. But that's only in some content. When it's AoE content, obviously Pitch Black Melee, Berserk Melee is king. However, when it comes towards like single target boss fights, I find myself not really using Pitch Black Melee more than Escanor. Escanor being type advantage on his actual ultimate. I just kind of click on the character thinking I could get his stats to pop up. But like Escanor being a character everyone summoned for back in when he came out. And of course still being the ticket banners. Now the ticket banners have been updated to where you can now get more copies of Escanor. You can definitely get this guy more dupe levels. And I do find myself using him a lot more when it comes to boss fights because that actual, type advantage is so important. And that's one thing obviously Melee doesn't have. And if he did, it'll be too broken, of course, right? When I'm doing like night bosses or certain boss fights, I sometimes do find Escanor doing more damage. Now that's not to say Escanor's better. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just trying to say like I'm using both, right? If I had Melee higher dupe or even on the same dupe level as obviously Escanor, then yeah, he actually would do more as well. But I want to stress the point, type advantage really does matter. And when you're going towards the night bosses, because they have that passive to where they have the 20% extra damage and also as well the accuracy buff, it really does make a difference, right? Other than that, the only bad thing about the Meliodas is that he is very squishy, right? Like, if you've actually used him, he dies a little bit too quick. And especially, like, in PvP, if you get nuked without any protection with an Escanor, you're dying, right, very, very quickly. Because if you look at his stats, granted, this is 2 dupes lower than my Escanor. I mean, we're not even going to compare it towards Devery because Devery stats are just insane, right? Attack-wise, Melee is obviously a lot higher because he's a better DPS character. But, like, stat-wise, I feel like he would have less than Escanor, even at 8-star. He's very, very squishy. And they kind of did that on purpose because he does have the immortality. But, like, in the same boss fights, I do find that he does die relatively early. And I think in terms of, like, base defense too, wow, his kit and what he does will make so much sense in base defense, other than obviously part 1, and we're talking about part 2 here. People still, I don't think, are using him because he just dies too quickly. I mean, that doesn't take away from him being the best character in the game. It's just, I'm trying to explain that he doesn't deserve his own tier, if that makes sense, right? He still fits among the other characters. So now let's talk about moving some things around, right? Gil Frost can go down. He was up in SS, last month when we had no Elizabeth. And of course, back then we had the Halloween boss fight and he was almost a must-need. And just in PP, he was a must-have. Like, he was just by far just an insane, unique character. So we're going to keep him in S tier, still very, very good. We're going to move Atra down. He was the best, like, kind of AoE outside of King, best damage dealer, but now with Melee in the game, we don't really care for him too much. King? We're going to move him down? I think so. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's good, right? He's very much like Merlin. You're buffing up the crit damage, you're buffing up the attack. I just feel like right now we're not relying on that actual damage, and Melly can carry by himself now. He's the big blue DPS character. And I do find myself sometimes not even using King, even though the buffs are crazy, because once again, the support characters, I think the biggest thing right now, we're going to stress with these like 5 characters up here, is energy gain is so important, right? You know, Barn, while still being a really good DPS character, and of course being probably the most free-to-play access character, because look at mine. Mine's what? That's like 9-star, and if I really wanted to, I can go into my box, I haven't spent him yet, and just guarantee 19 copies of him, because you can get access towards him so easier now. You know, he most likely will be the first character you get towards like True Awakening 13-star. So yeah, Barnes gonna be up there because he's gonna get duped out so much easier, which means he's gonna be, you know, very good DPS character. But also, once again, that restore energy. I was doing a bunch of testing even with Berserk Melee, and I actually had a best run on my Night boss with Barn over Berserk Melee, because one, Berserk Melee was doing too much damage that I couldn't keep up a little bit. If you watch my video, you know what I mean, right? But yeah, Barn getting that energy, even though it is a chance, is still so important. Same goes towards Monspeed. Monspeed actually staying up in the SS because base defense part 2, he is the best DPS for it, because you can't bring DPS characters or sync characters. So yeah, Monspeed being insane. Plus, once again, that energy restore we spoke about last time. But if you don't know how boss fight works, they start very weak, but over the course of the battle, actually do more damage. Their stats are going to increase. So because of that, Monspeed having really high crit chance early on, he's going to spam those actual 5 energy restores. Gopher, once again, guarantee energy restore while also reducing cooldowns, plus the accuracy buff can make you once again deal more damage. Or well, not deal more damage, but you're more likely not to miss. So when you get to a certain point where the boss fight is you would more likely to miss, he's going to help out a little bit. And Estarossa, a lot of people argue to me saying he's not SS, but if you played against him in PvP, I versed someone who absolutely slapped my Berserk Melee, because his Estarossa did like 1.7 billion damage, more than my actual Meliodas. Obviously, you have to gear him up and dupe him out a little bit. But once again, even going back towards base defense, he's a must for that as well, him and Monspeed. I said it. I mean, you always want to use a tank character, and I haven't looked back since I've gotten him. So yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I mean, in terms of ordering, how would I order it? People may not agree right now with Deviary being SS, but I'm still backing it. She's still sometimes my highest damage dealer. And you got to remember, once again, type advantage does really matter. And for currently right now, she is the best red DPS character. So when it comes towards Night bosses, even though she has got lower attack in comparison to other DPSs, they did that on purpose because you're also getting 30% extra attack off your passive. Still good in PvP, while she has been countered a lot harder now since, well, Elizabeth can stun her. You know, Elizabeth with anything made to counter her a little bit. And if anything, you may replace her with like Berserk Melee, but I still really much enjoy her. Maybe in a month or 2, she might move down, but for right now, still the best red DPS. And then I think in S tier, there's not really too much to change. I still like these unique characters being up here. We haven't really got any new content other than like base defense that obviously made and certified Estarossa, and of course Monspeed in the SS tier. But other than that, right, like I think we've got the new actual grey demon, no, copper demon, who I've actually still struggling to beat, but there's no unique character going to make me clear through that one. And in terms of Naho bosses, we haven't really, I mean, they've been updating, right? But we haven't actually needed a use for other characters, like, you know, the ones that will be a bit lower that might move up a little bit. But yeah, overall, I think I am very much happy with this tier list. So guys, it's going to wrap up the video. Once again, let me know your thoughts down below and where you think certain characters should rank. Maybe Barn should move down because I'm not always using him, but I kind of am. It's just, he's still, like, I think that's a character-wise, he probably would be in the S tier, but I think because everyone can get him towards a higher dupe level for free, he just has to be high because he will be your highest dupe character and he's like still the best one. Plus the energy gain is so good. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching today's video, and yeah, peace.